So let's talk about the elephant in the room. How is the gacha system of Endfield? The system in itself actually feels like a double-edged sword. From one side, it is the most generous gacha system on the market, but you gotta be disciplined with your pools. We got the lowest guarantee rate amongst all the bigger gacha game, which is 120, while other games are like 160 to 180, with the weapon banner. And generally you need to pool for another 60 to 80 pools, depends on which game you're playing, even though the odd is not 100%, but generally you don't need to spend to get the signature weapon in Arknights and Endfield. You're pooling with the byproduct coming from the character pool, that is called the Arsenal ticket, and that made Arknights and Endfield not only the most generous gacha system, but also the most vertical investment friendly. They got the gacha system that indulge people to spend more on pulling the duplicate of the character, because the guarantee system make it cheaper than pulling equivalent amounts of character. And the other edge of the sword, if you make a bad pooling decision, you're gonna mess up your account harder than any other gacha game. And the only fix is to spend until you get the guaranteed. So generally, don't pool until you have 120, and don't pool after winning the 50-50, unless you are going for 240, which is the next milestone for the guarantee. And I've made a video explain about all the mechanics, so check that out if you are not familiar with the mechanics. My name is Ryusuke. I will be making digestible content on the Arknights and Endfield, so make sure to like and subscribe for the future content like this. So, I will be covering how free-to-play player and low spender navigate themselves through this gacha system, and talks about mindset in general to have better experience with the game as a free-to-play or a low spender. But let's forget about the gacha system, the factory building, and all the complexity of the combat system. And let's talk about what you should do on day 1. Like appreciating all the raindrop on her side. I mean appreciating the mother nature of the game. Like you see, Arknights and Endfield is a really complicated game. There's no way that you could learn the game on day 1. Unless you play closed beta, there's no way you could digest everything. So the first thing you want to prioritize on day 1 is to finish the main quest. Not only that, the main quest would work as a perfect guideline for you to get familiar with the game. It would unlock the features one by one while you are immersing yourself with the story, while learning about this spectacular world of Arknights and Endfield. And I wouldn't suggest you to rush through the story just to get yourself levels up, because the main dish of the gacha game is always the main story. So enjoy the game, enjoy the journey with the character at your own pace. If you skip through the story, you're not gonna be able to experience the game like the way you know nothing about it. It's gonna feel like reading the spoiler before you get to the movie, when you decide to come back to enjoy the story. The story in pretty much any gacha game will take you through all the mechanics of the game in a digestible and more importantly more enjoyable way, navigating you through all the basic aspects of the game. And you will also be leveling up your account's level by just completing the quest, unlocking all the features, and by the time you finish the main quest, you will have much easier time learning the game with the guide on the YouTube. Trust me on this one. Watching any guide video on YouTube before you finish the main story quest is a waste of time. In such a complicated game like this, it takes a whole community to figure out the meta, the most optimized way to play the game. And that gonna take a while. There will be people testing all types of team comp, and a lot of mistakes will be made. And I could also see myself not getting everything right as a guide maker, so it is better for casual player to just play at your own pace and wait for the community to figure out the meta. And speaking of meta, these are the teams that I recommended. Physical team is the most recommended team, because you could play this team with the free-to-play. And if you get one of the physical operator, you could fill them in and replace the main character with this team. The fire team gonna be the strongest and easiest team if you get the Laevatein, and these two teams gonna be pretty easy to play. And these are some other teams that people been recommending. The electric team gonna be a little bit harder to play in the end game, but it's a fantastic team for the early game. And these two teams are pretty challenging from what I heard. And it's not like having all the 6-star in one team gonna be stronger. I got this info from the JP side. The amount of time to clear the endgame boss before the second phase. Like the all 6-star team took 3 minutes 45 seconds. And the other team with a 4-star and 2 5-star. But with the right team comp, they got 3 minutes and 10 seconds, outperforming the 6-star team. It could be the weakness of the boss, but that still doesn't take away how strong the 4-star and the 5-star in the right team comp, even though they would probably be irrelevant after like 4 to 5 months. But if we take a look at other gacha games, just because they are free doesn't necessarily mean that they are not strong. Like let's say Bennett from Genshin Impact, he's still one of the most relevant support in this game. Nicole in Zenless Zone Zero, and Verena in the Wuwa, and it is still hard to tell which 5-star and 4-star gonna be that overpowered character. So make sure to keep an eye on the free-to-play character. And based off the last closed beta test, Anto, Catcher, Snowshine, or even the protagonist are worth keep an eye on. And my message is, there's no such thing as a must pull in every single gacha game, cause the strongest limited character today could be irrelevant on the next year. And that's why I keep repeating the same message over and over. You want to pull for your favorite character and pull for a team around your favorite. If the strongest character will always be the future one, then what's the point of pulling the strongest character for now? I've seen so many people pull for the meta and regret about it when a new stronger character came out. And the rule of thumb will always be waifu over meta. But that doesn't mean pulling for Laevatein is a bad idea. She got the AoE damage, and I believe that the endgame content will definitely build around her, especially for the first few months. Pulling for her will definitely give you the best experience in the first 3 months of playing this game. And there's nothing wrong pulling a character to have more fun with the game. And from what I heard from the CBT, you could be getting around like 100 pulls if you collect all the treasure in the map, and you're gonna have like 29 limited pool from the launch event, and they will probably have some event for the extra premium currency. And of course, if you are a low spender, there will also be a monthly pass. You should be able to get a decent pools amount from that. So with all that taken into the account, you're gonna be able to get 120 pools within the first 2 weeks. But you gotta spend a lot of time into exploring the map and solving all the achievement for the currency to farm the pool. You are very much likely to not get her weapon playing this way, but there will always be a rerun. And on top of that, the difficulties will probably be regulated. The overall difficulties has to be pretty easy for the majority of the player, so there's no real reason to spend and rush on the signature weapon. Anyway, don't forget to like and sub, and see you guys in the game.